Hey, welcome into a Wild and Wacky Wednesday edition of Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. I'm Chris Yow, joined as always by Mo Patton, and we are coming to you from the Lee Company studio. Glad to have you with us on this Wednesday. And as we look outside, wind picking up, weather's supposed to get a little iffy this evening, so make sure that you are weather aware throughout the afternoon and the evening. Mo, what's going on?
I just kind of got familiar with that phrase, I guess, over the weekend, Friday night.
Weather aware?
Weather aware, yeah. So yeah, and be sure and check your local listings as we go through the rundown here in a bit, because some of these games might be affected by your weather awareness, I guess.
Yeah, I saw a tweet from someone earlier that said all games in Sumner and Robertson County have been canceled. Now, I don't know if that's one sport, all sports. I don't know. So we're just going to ask you to find out. If we had access to Arbiter Mo, we'd know. But we don't. So, I mean, that's unfortunate. We need to get access to that.
Seriously. Dude, you really didn't have to bring that up.
Well, it's true though. If you're out there and you can get us access, that would be fantastic.
Because at least one person thinks we have it and would be shocked to know that we don't.
I'm not throwing shade. I'm literally saying it would be fantastic if we did have that.
Yeah,
access
do we have any umpire friends?
That's what we need to know. We need to get access to Arbiter from our umpire friends on baseball and softball and boys soccer.
Yeah,
that would make it.
Well, they wouldn't be umpires in boys soccer.
Well, yeah, but whatever they are.
Our officiating friends for spring sports. If y'all want to get us access to Arbiter,
help us out. Hook us up
at mpatton@mainstreetmediatn.com.
Yes,
just shoot it to me.
Oh man,
you can be anonymous.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, but again, it would help us keep tabs on all of the area schools and where games are, when games are, who games are against.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. So, because if the umpires are going, they need to know when and where. So,
yep.
Very important information. So anyway, just saying it would be a cool thing to have.
It would be nice to have, without question.
But since we don't have it, we're going to give you all of the schedule today, and we'll give you the results from yesterday. All of that on the rundown.
Here's the rundown.
Brentwood Academy 11-0. It was Franklin 5, Centennial 2. Clarksville Academy with a 11-1 win over Nashville Christian. Green Hill defeated Cookville 6-4. Giles County with a 7-4 win over Covenant Christian of Alabama. Collinwood with a 15-5 win over Culleoka. Good Pasture Blank Davidson Academy 10-0. It was Eagleville 10, Cornersville 1. Christ Presbyterian Academy 8, Ensworth 5. Hendersonville with an 8-1 win over Gallatin. Wayne County 18, Hampshire 5. It was Sycamore 13, Harpeth 2. Rossview with an 11-1 win over Henry County. Overton 12, Hillsborough 0. Hillwood 10, Martin Luther King 0. McGavock took a pair from Hunter's Lane 15-0 and 22-12. Ravenwood with a 5-4 win over Independence. The Raptors' second win of the series against the Eagles. Lewis County with a 9-5 win over Summertown. Creekwood blanked Liberty Creek 10-0. It was Loretto 18, Mount Pleasant 7. Murfreesboro Magnet with a 16-0 win over Maplewood. Spring Hill defeated Marshall County 5-1. The Middle Tennessee Monarchs blanked the Tennessee Heat 10-0. It was Brentwood 3, Oakland 1, and Page 2, Lawrence County 0.
Pearl Cone down Whites Creek 13-7. It was Middle Tennessee Christian 10 running Providence Christian 11-1. Rockville shuts out Riverdale 6-0, and Richland with a big 23-1 win over Santa Fe. Siegel down Blackman 1-0, and Clarksville will put a whipping on Springfield 25-2. It was Stewart's Creek 12, Antioch 1. Summit shuts out Columbia Central 4-0. Watertown 11, Westmoreland 1. Columbia Academy with a 4-0 win over Webb School of Bell Buckle. Montgomery Central edges White House 10-9, and White House Heritage doubles up Fairview 6-3. In softball play, it was Henry County 13, Northwest 0, and Richland 2-0 winners over Collinwood. Columbia Academy 16-6 winners over Marshall County. And Mo, you have coverage of that?
We do.
MainStreetMurray.com. Donaldson Christian 14-2 over Ezo Harding, and Mount Pleasant a 12-8 winner over Fayetteville. Zion Christian took out some frustrations from the last week on Franklin Road Christian 22-1. Then Smyrna down Laverne 15-0. It was Wayne County 4, Loretto 1, and then the Lady Cats with a 7-0 win as well against Loretto. It was Gallatin 13, huh?
Oh, go ahead.
I thought you said who, and I
said,
like, did I say the wrong?
No, you're fine. You're fine. Go right ahead.
Gallatin 13-6 over McGavock. Siegel 6-0 over Oakland. Stewart's Creek 27. Cane Ridge 0. Missed that last extra point. Summertown edges Giles County 4-3, and Tullahoma a 2-1 winner over Page. Westmoreland 14-4 against County, and Greenbrier 2. White House 0.
Summertown was down 3-1 in that ball game, and wound up walking it off on a 2-run homer by Erica Abbott, by the way. So
there you go.
Little late game dramatics from the Lady Eagles in that one. On the pitch, Hendersonville blanks Beach 2-0. Cookville blanks Smyrna 3-0. Tullahoma with a 5-2 win over Giles County. Hillsborough blanked Overton 3-0. It was Laverne 1, Lebanon 0. Marshall County with a 4-3 win over Lawrence County. Page blanks Lincoln County 6-0. It was Grace Christian of Franklin 9, Middle Tennessee Christian 0. Father Ryan edges Oakland 1-0. Riverdale 4, Cascade 0. Greenbrier with a 9-0 win over Watertown. Westmoreland 3, Stratford 2, and White House Heritage with a 9-0 win over Liberty Creek. College baseball last night. Vanderbilt, it's not 100 miles of hate. What is that? Maybe 60? I don't know, but they defeated Western Kentucky 8-1. Austin P.
Yeah. This is insane. Could you imagine going to this game?
I can't imagine going to that game. I can't imagine coaching this game, because every pitcher that isn't a weekend pitcher threw for both Austin P and UT Martin in an 18-17 Governor's victory. Belmont with a 9-4 win over Tennessee Tech, and 18th ranked Louisville fell to Jeff Forehand and the Lipscomb Bisons 12-7. Major League Baseball action from last night. The Braves clinched a series win at St. Louis with a 4-1 win. And on the ice, it was the PREDS 3, Vegas 2 in overtime. In the association, the Grizzlies defeated the Trailblazers 119-109.
And not without drama, though. Boy, the Grizzlies and the Trailblazers struggling on the year, and the Grizzlies took every bit of struggle they could muster to get that win.
Mm.
Baseball action today. Again, check your local listings. Cross Presbyterian is hosting Innsworth at 4:30, as is Donaldson Christian. They've got Park Tudor, Indiana. Hope Prep is at Father Ryan, and Ezo Harding is at Hillwood. Lipscomb Academy hosting Brentwood Academy, all at 4:30. At 6 o'clock tonight, Siegel's at Blackman. Montgomery Central's at Clarksville Northeast. Columbia Central hosting Summit. Cookville's at Green Hill, no S. Webb School at Laverne. Spring Hill is at Moore County. Nolensville's hosting Oakland. Rockville is at Riverdale. Ravenwood is hosting Independence at 6:30, and Lebanon is at Mount Juliet at 7. Softball action. Gallatin at Portland at 4:30. At 5 o'clock, it's John Overton at Fairview. Good Pasture at Friendship Christian, and Mount Juliet at Summit at 5:30. Columbia Central's at Tullahoma. Rockville's hosting Riverdale, and at 7 o'clock, Blackman is at Shovelville.
That Riverdale Rockville game is at 6:30, by the way.
Did I not say that? I'm sorry.
No, you didn't, but it's cool. Girls flag football in Metro Nashville. 4 o'clock starts for MLK and Whites Creek, Hunters Lane and Antioch, Cane Ridge and Hillsboro, Hillwood and Stratford, and McGavock and Pearl Cone. At 5, Whites Creek plays Glencliff, Antioch plays Overton, Hillsboro and East Nashville, Stratford and Hume Fog, and Pearl Cone and Maplewood. 6 o'clock, MLK plays Glencliff, Hunters Lane against Overton, Cane Ridge and East Nashville, Hillwood and Hume Fog, and McGavock and Maplewood. In Major League Baseball, in progress, the Braves are closing in on completing that sweep of the Cardinals. They are up 5-1. I think we are middle eighth. Yeah, so. And in the National Basketball Association, Memphis goes to NOLA for a 7 o'clock tip against the Pelicans. That game can be seen on Valley Sports Southeast. And that is your rundown.
Whew.
You all right?
Yeah. Again, check your local listings on those.
No doubt.
Middle
And be
Tennessee.
weather aware.
And be weather aware if you are at one of those games. I was about to say that. Yes, Jordan Walker. What is it about people named Jordan Walker? I mean,
Good question.
if your name is Jordan Walker, you're going to be good at pretty much anything that you want to be good at.
Apparently.
Whether it be women's basketball, men's basketball,
Or baseball.
professional baseball, or songwriting.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Okay. There's one of those too.
Oh yeah, he's a good friend. So
Okay. All right.
who has several number one hits to his name, including "When It Rains It Pours" by Luke Combs.
Okay.
So yeah, it's apparently a very successful name to have.
Okay. Good to know.
Jordan Walker with a solo home run is at 1 in the Cardinals stat line, and it was a solo shot, and he is now on a 6-game hit streak to start his career
Yeah.
as a rookie.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah.
Early favorite for rookie of the year. Don't go bet on him now. He's gonna be minus money at this point. Oh man. Let's first tell you that we've got Heather Williams coming up in just a few minutes to talk NASCAR. We've also got WILLY DAUNIC, who will join us at 3 o'clock to talk a little PREDS, and plenty to talk about in that one, as they are 5 games away.
Interesting.
Yeah, 5 games away from the end of the season, 3 points out, and they have a game each against both teams ahead of them in the wild card standings remaining. So, how about that?
High drama.
High drama for sure. So looking forward to talking to him. But our top story today, Mo, comes from the college football ranks, as announced, or well, not announced earlier today, but reported by Ross Dellinger at Sports Illustrated and others, that the University of Tennessee has decided that it will try its luck in front of the NCAA committee, as they were unable to come up with a solution or a settlement between the two entities regarding Jeremy Pruitt's recruiting violations during his tenure as head coach of the football team.
18 of them.
18 level 1 violations were allegedly committed. The
You you use that allegedly like you don't necessarily believe it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess they're not necessarily alleged. I think, I mean, based off of the investigation that Tennessee
Yeah.
put out, I think the only thing Jeremy Pruitt's going to go in front of the committee and argue is that Philip Fulmer knew, and the university wasn't stopping me, so they should pay me my money. um, but this is interesting because Tennessee has already self-imposed like 15 scholarships over the last
12, I
is it
think
just
it was.
12? Okay.
Yeah.
That's still a lot. 12 scholarships obviously didn't have a postseason ban over the last 2 years. Although
I'm
a
not
good
sure necessarily what Tennessee is protesting here
right,
unless the NCAA has taken the same tack with them that they did with Oklahoma State.
right.
And I can't
And
see what benefit that would be to the NCAA, but then I didn't see what benefit it was to the NCAA against Oklahoma State. So
because there wasn't any. And like I tweeted earlier, and you liked, Oklahoma State said, "Told you so." Don't
don't
help them.
don't help them because
Don't.
they're not going to take it into consideration.
I mean, literally, Tennessee has basically set the bar for self-imposed penalties,
Yeah.
and yet,
I mean,
you-
it seems like this would be a perfect opportunity for the NCAA to say, go and sin no more. You know, they self-impose, they clean house. You know, I can see where Pruitt may be, contesting the show cause and that kind of thing. But I mean, Derek Ainsley has gone on to the NFL. He's not planning on coaching at the collegiate level anytime soon. I mean, maybe Pruitt's trying to get his name cleared so he can go to the Nick Saban rehab program.
well,
But
yeah, and we'll put it. I'll put it this way, and I did, full disclosure, I listened to Dave Hooker off the Hook Sports this morning, and hopefully we can get him on to at some point to dive a little bit deeper into this. But one of the things that he mentioned was that there's a lot of folks out there saying that people feel like the NCAA wants to make an example of somebody in the era of NIL, but this happened pre-NIL.
right.
So I think, if that's the case, Tennessee doesn't really fit the bill.
No, I mean, if this had been,
That's never stopped anybody before,
yeah,
especially the NCAA.
you're trying to inject logic into an illogical situation, and you know what happens when you do that. But I mean,
Can't be done.
Again, though, this is not a post NIL situation, and in fact, I venture to say you'll never see Tennessee have another one of these type violations in the era of NIL.
No, they're doing NIL very well and above board right now. I mean, they were one of the first to have a collective, and it's exactly.
Well, I mean, you had all those folks say, "Oh, we can do this legally now." Cool.
Yeah. So here's the big thing that I'm curious about. Okay. We know that there was money paid. We don't know where the money came from. That's never been disclosed.
Well, I mean, you figure it's boosters, don't
Yeah,
you?
but who?
Well, I mean, do they ever disclose that?
I mean, Bobby Louder's situation.
Well, that was just so damn blatant, though.
And but I mean, the Albert Means situation.
Speaking of blatant, I mean, when it's just folks walking up and just handing money out. I mean, when it's that obvious, it's not hard to name names.
Sure. My concern, I guess maybe that's the NCAA's concern.
Is who?
Well, I mean, if these people are still involved, what's the difference? Well, now there's NIL, and
Right.
they can be
that's
involved.
where their involvement is. Yeah.
They're involved in the collective. They're, whatever. So I don't know. I just feel like that's a slope that the NCAA doesn't really need to dive into in this situation. but it's the NCAA. They're going to do something stupid. It's just going to happen.
NCAA going NCAA?
Yes. So I'm really curious because I want to get really in, I really want to get some more information in this because I haven't followed it well enough, and it's been 27 months since Jeremy Pruitt was fired. So like,
Nobody misses him, by the way?
No, absolutely not. So I just don't know exactly what, I don't know exactly what this is going to end up being. But I do know the hearing is in about 17 days.
Yeah.
And
April 21st.
And it comes literally, Mo, you're going to love this. The Big Orange Caravan is happening the 3 days prior to this.
Oh, 3 days prior
to the NCAA committee hearing.
You think that wasn't on purpose?
Well, you think it's going to come up during the caravan?
Go figure.
Might be a talking point, huh?
Maybe. Yeah.
So anyway, oh man, we'll get into this more. Again, we're going to try to get at least somebody from out there who has really been able to follow this and keep close eye on it. And again, I watched Dave this morning. He did a fantastic job. He and Caleb Johnson.
Giroux.
No, it's not our guy.
Oh,
it's some Caleb. I think Johnson's his name. Anyway, we'll get into it more with someone later this week. Right now, we need to take a break, our first break of the day, because Heather Williams is standing by to talk a little vroom vroom NASCAR. It's a big week for her and for the cars that run on dirt in NASCAR, because we're going to Bristol, baby. We'll be right back after this on Main Street Sports Day, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Stick around. Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net. Custom Stone Handler supplies over 600 distributors and suppliers with quality stone products. Along with River Stone, we produce and distribute over 100 building, landscape, and other bulk products. Our goal is to provide quality products, service, and partnerships to ensure our customers' success. We firmly believe that the measure of any person or company is how they treat other people and customers. Give them a call at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
With Lee Company technology, the best handymen are hands-off. Lee Company techs have been using visual findings and other smart technology tools for years to add transparency and virtually take customers along. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on a roof. With Lee Company, technology helps us help you, no matter what's happening in the world or at your house.
You can't see the sights without the sounds. From the crack of the bat to the roar of the crowd and everything in between, discover what Hit City has to offer. Spend your nights cheering on the Nashville Sounds at First Horizon Park with giveaways, fireworks shows, theme weekends, and more. Single game tickets are on sale now. Visit NashvilleSounds.com to claim your seat today.
Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Murray County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic service, and our Ortho Quick Walk-In Clinic lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net.
Welcome back in Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint, here in the Lee Company studio. Chris Yow and Mo Patton on this fine Wednesday, as we are getting ready to talk a little NASCAR with Heather Williams, as we very much enjoy doing so on the Real Property Solutions hotline. Real Property Solutions will buy your home as is. So if you have any questions or concerns, you can give Real Property Solutions a call. We'll make sure to get you that number here in just a few moments. But now we go to the hotline with Heather Williams. Heather, how are you?
We can't hear you, Heather.
Oh, no.
Try now. Nope.
Oh, no. It's no bueno.
That's no bueno.
Hearing something, so I wonder if that's
Yeah.
her or if that's us. I'm not sure.
I don't know. Heather may need to back out and come back in.
We may have to do that, in fact. So,
it's okay because we've got her Twitter
handle wrong.
misspelled
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah. Interesting week in NASCAR because, you know, they used to not race on Easter, Mo, and
I think we talked about this last year. Did they race
did.
last Easter?
They did. Easter is this is their Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
They're trying to take over the Easter holiday weekend. And I mean, if you're going to do it, Bristol's the one to do it with. I mean, so at least they're smart enough to do that. They're the most popular race of the year.
Well, I mean, I guess it's probably the best chance to get people to pay attention on Easter.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you're going
I mean, you don't want to do it with a mid racing.
No,
weekend.
you're just going to throw anything out there. We're not going to do that. But
All right.
yeah, all right. So let's see if we've got Heather back now, and don't put her well, I mean, you can go ahead and put her lower third up if you want to, but I'm fixing to change it. So I can hear her now. Heather, what's up?
Well, we're treading on dangerous water because I had to take my headphones off to be able to hear, and I am in the middle of the newsroom, so you never know what might happen behind me.
What is it? Not suitable for work or?
Yeah. Well, our work is not suitable for sensitive ears
for us.
So yeah. So apologize in advance if anything crazy happens, but
there we go. There we go. Heather, we were just talking about Bristol and Easter.
yeah, I mean, it's become a made for television event. I mean, this is very much fueled by Fox Sports. They're trying to build something that is similar to the NBA on Christmas or the NFL on Thanksgiving. So they want NASCAR on the dirt in Bristol to be that event. So hopefully, you know, so far the numbers have been good. It's been really well received by the viewers and been an event. But I'll be interested to see what happens this year because overall viewership is down in NASCAR. So we'll see if we can sustain that level of viewership that the race got the first couple of years.
Any ideas why viewership is down? Because it has been. I mean, even for Daytona.
Yeah,
even though it was minuscule.
I'm not sure because the racing's been pretty good. The racing was really good most of last season. The racing this year has been pretty good. I think maybe the sport might be losing some of those kind of post-pandemic viewers, if you will, that they had. You know, NASCAR was the first sport to come back during the pandemic, and they got a lot of samplers in the sport that started watching racing because it was the only live sporting event on at the time. And so I think that some of those viewers may be kind of reverting back to their usual viewing habits of whether it be baseball or basketball or whatever. So I guess I think the true test will be in the summer when those events go away. You know, basketball just ended, so that's not something they compete against anymore. We do still have baseball. But there's just fewer options, you know, once you clear the Masters this weekend. So I'll be interested to see what the numbers look like in the summer. If they fall off then too, then I think maybe the sport has a little bit of a problem.
They probably would have more viewers if they would just let things like Martin Truex Jr.'s communications with his crew chief after the race on Sunday just go live.
Yeah, probably, but they might have other problems if they get from the FCC. Gosh, that was wild. I don't know. I don't have any kind of information, but I would have a hard time believing that if Martin Truex comes back next year, that James Small will be back along for the ride with him. That pairing hasn't seemed to really work out for them very well. They've had a difference in opinion and in and with not very much success. Either be one thing if they had a difference in opinion, win a bunch of races, but they haven't really won many races since Small became the crew chief. So if that makes it through the end of the season, I don't see that situation lasting much longer.
So for those
when you say hold up, when you say if it makes it through the end of the season, you could see a scenario where it doesn't make it through the end of the season.
Yeah, I could see a scenario pretty easily where Joe Gibbs Racing makes a crew chief swap, especially since, really none of their teams are running all that well. I mean, I think the other three drivers are pretty happy with their crew chiefs right now, but the performance isn't necessarily there. I mean, Ty Gibbs has had a pretty good run the last couple of weeks, but I think that they would think that it would be a fair statement that they would say that the three big teams, the three teams with veterans, are underperforming right now. I mean, Truex is not the only one. He's just the only one that doesn't seem to be very happy with his crew chief at the moment. But all of those teams are underperforming. So I could see a swap coming within the teams or even within their Xfinity Series teams before the season's over if things don't get better.
Yeah, after the race on Sunday, Martin Truex Jr. basically said, my tires are flat. I don't know what's going on. Crew chief says, well, we kind of screwed ourselves. And he didn't say screwed.
Yeah.
With a pit stop in stage one. And so they didn't have any tires left for that final pit stop. And they put on some scuffed tires and didn't tell Truex. And I'm not sure what difference it would have made, but they still didn't tell him. And
at least he would have known, I guess.
And Small then says, well, there was no use in telling you. We were screwed either way. So,
but at least he'd have known.
Right. And so, obviously it just seems like there's some miscommunication among the team there. It's kind of all haywire right now. So boy, I'd love to be a fly on the wall and Joe Gibbs Racing.
I would have loved to be in the competition meeting.
Doesn't sound like you had to be a fly on the wall.
You just had to have a scanner on set Sunday, but we didn't have a scanner on Monday. That's where the real fun probably happened because for the most part, they know everyone's listening. So they keep those things fairly civil, comparatively speaking, unless you're Kyle Busch, who's been known to, or Harvick, who's been known to go off on people on those scanners. They're fairly civil, but I just sense that there's something a little bit off this season at Joe Gibbs Racing. And I mean, let's be fair. I mean,
they lost
the guy who was running the organization died unexpectedly before the start of the season or before the end of the season last year. And so I'm sure there are a lot of people doing jobs that they weren't doing last year. And I'm sure things are a little bit off, but Ty's actually overachieved. Really, he's finished the top 10 the last 2 weeks, and I feel like everybody else in that camp is really underachieved. I would expect the way that Christopher Bell ended the last season last year for him to be running up there the way that the Hendrick guys are running, and he's not. And Denny is a guy that's always expected to be in the top 5 of the top 10, and they're not really and this kind of dates back to last year, but they're running okay, they're running good enough, but they're not running championship level. They're not running up there with the Hendrick boys. And then, as I mentioned, there's been something off with that 19 car for over a year now. So, yeah, I mean, I would, the sport is better when Penske and Joe Gibbs and Hendrick are all running really well, because obviously that creates more competition. And right now Hendrick is running at a higher level than the other two organizations. And I would like to see some of the parity back. It makes for better racing.
Oh yeah. It's going to be a challenge when right now, and again, Kyle Larson with the win, Hendrick just seems to have all the all the good things going, and Toyotas in general are trying to find their way, which, you know, they're going to be fine eventually. And then they've ran well for most of the year, but they're just not winning at the clips that they're used to winning.
You're running good, but they're not running the way that they're capable.
Right. And so, you know, you got to figure that part out. But other than that, I mean, it's pretty decent race for a short track. You know, I don't think that they figured it out, but necessarily
Better. It's
but
better.
It's certainly
It's
better. And that's look, all you can ask for is improvement, right?
Right. Yeah,
So,
the downforce package definitely made a difference. It made the racing better. The end of the race was really entertaining. But yeah, there's still work to be done. It's not the short track of old. It's not the bounce them out of the way and beating and banging that we all love. With the reason we love short tracks, but it's getting there. I thought it was a pretty entertaining race. Now, I'll be honest with you. I thought the most entertaining race of the weekend was the IndyCar race. That wasn't even close. I was on the edge of my seat for the last 20 laps of that thing easily. But and you know, I think that, you know, going back to the ratings things, I think the surge in popularity in F1 racing is probably hurting NASCAR too. And NASCAR's got to find a way to work with the other types of motorsports, and that so that they're not working against each other. Because if they work against each other, they're probably just going to end up all eating their own, and it'll be bad for all forms of racing. But just back to Richmond, I thought the racing was pretty good. It was fun. It was fun to race.
what should we expect this weekend? Obviously, Bristol dirt. It's been good over the last couple of years. You feel like this is this
Yeah,
is
I mean, I
just
think
going to
with
be another
every
one.
year, the teams, the tracks figures out a little bit more about what they need to be doing, how they need to be set up. You know, hope and pray for no rain, because you know, right now there's rain in the schedule for Friday, which would eliminate practice, and for Saturday, which is the heat races. And you know, if you don't get those things, it definitely, I think, because the first year we didn't get practice or heat races because of the rain, I think that diminishes the quality of racing on the track, because nobody, I mean, we don't do this every week. People know how to set up their cars. They don't know, you know, how the soil composition is going to affect the cars and those kinds of things. So the practice and the heat races are really important just to set up a good quality race on Sunday. So I think the biggest factor this weekend is not going to be the teams or the track, but rather the weather, because if it rains on Friday and Saturday, that could really just change, not only change the composition of the track, but just how the teams are able to adapt to running on dirt, and really could affect the whole weekend. Just a little bit of rain on Friday. So, you know, hope that the weather stays away from here.
If it doesn't, I mean, what does that mean? Obviously, you just said it's going to be crappy racing, because most of these guys aren't really used to running on dirt.
I don't know if it'll be crappy racing per se, but it will definitely give a bigger advantage to the guys that are dirt guys. Now, saying that, the first year when they didn't have practice, the guy who won wasn't a dirt guy. Joey Logano's not a dirt guy, but definitely through the course of the race, when you were watching the racing, the guys that were more successful were the dirt guys. I mean, until they crashed out, Christopher Bell and Kyle Larson were pretty much dominating the race. I think Ricky Stenhouse finished in the top 5. So it just I think cuts down the competition, you know, unless you just get lucky, because Truex was really strong that first year. But when we talked to him this week, he basically said, I was lucky. I hit on a setup. Last year I was not lucky, and we were terrible. So, and it took a long time for us to work through to get a decent car. So I just think, you know, it'll just make the race less predictable. Doesn't necessarily mean it won't be good racing, because if Stenhouse and Kyle Larson and Christopher Bell are battling for the lead, that's gonna be entertaining just because of the way those guys drive. But it just cuts down on the unpredictability level of some of the other drivers, and I don't know. I think that makes it a little less fun.
There you have it, Heather. What can we expect this weekend? Who's going to be running up front?
Well, I mean, we always talk about the dirt guys, and you know, I think that the dirt guys obviously have an advantage, but I the guys that have won the first 2 races have not been quote unquote dirt guys. Kyle Busch has a little bit of dirt racing in his background, not a ton. Same thing with Joey Logano, a little bit, but not a ton. So I think, keep your eye on some of those guys that have had success on dirt, but aren't, core dirt racers, like Logano, like maybe a Brad Keselowski or a Bubba Wallace or Eric Almirola. I saw was out doing some little doing a dirt race this week to get into the rhythm of running a dirt car. So I think those guys are the guys that are really interesting in this weekend, because so far those guys have been the guys that have been successful on the dirt racing.
There you go. Heather, as always, fun to talk a little NASCAR. Get to stay home this week. Is that good or bad?
That's a good question. Yeah.
It's good. I mean, I get to spend way more time at the track this weekend than I will even on races that I travel to, because I literally live 3 miles from the track. So it's not anything for me to get to the track and be there all day and really soak in what's going on and talk to people at the track and see the cars in person for myself and really see who's going to be good for the weekend and that kind of stuff. So, yeah, I love it.
Now, you probably are never home when they are actually running at the track, but can you hear the track from your house?
No, I live far enough away with enough buffers and stuff that you wouldn't. But if you're like, there's condos across the street, you could absolutely hear the racing from those things. But it's like over a hill, and there's like a couple shopping centers and stuff between where I am and where the track is, so I can't hear them in my apartment.
Okay.
Heather Williams, WCYB _Heather on Twitter, on the Real Property Solutions hotline. Again, they'll buy your house as is. Give them a call, 615-527-8750.
Hey, guys, I did want to mention when I was muted and you couldn't hear me, the Big Orange Caravan stop here in Bristol is after the hearing. So if you want to come talk to some people, ours is actually one of the 2, us in Chattanooga, that's afterwards. So, yeah. If you just wanted to make a little road trip.
A little road trip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just over the hill and through the woods, right?
I did it for state basketball a couple weeks ago.
You did indeed, but you are clearly the road warrior of the bunch, and we stand for you. Absolutely. That was awesome. Heather, we appreciate it.
Yeah, we'll see you guys next week.
All right.
We're going to take a break. When we come back, hopefully the Braves will be out of this. 2 outs, runner on second, now up 5-2 after an RBI double from, you guessed it, Jordan Walker.
Oh, we'll be all right. Jesse Chavez
coming in. So
Jesse,
when we get back from this break, when we get back from this break, we'll tell you about how Jesse Chavez ended the game. So stick around on Main Street Sports, presented by Mid Tennessee Bone and Joint. Back to the Lee Company studio after this.
Attention Tennessee homeowners, we want to buy your house. Hi, we are Real Property Solutions, a local real estate investing group. We pay cash for all types of property, so you walk away with more money in your pocket because we eliminate any fees, closing costs, and commissions. Now the best part, we can buy your house as is, meaning you don't have to do a thing to your property. You get to take what you want, leave what you don't, and don't even worry about cleaning. We close on your timeline, whether that's 7 days or 70 days. Interested in selling? Just give us a call and we'll come out to your property and quote you a cash offer within 24 hours. Please call 615-527-8750. That's 615-527-8750.
You've been putting back a few, and a few becomes a few too many. For a moment, you think about calling for a ride. Nah, you live nearby. What's the worst that can happen? You get pulled over, your insurance goes up, you lose your license, you total your car, you kill someone.
Walmart Supply Chain is hiring in Lebanon. Earn up to $22.25 an hour when you join our new fulfillment center. Enjoy competitive pay and premium perks, including 100% paid college tuition, 401k match, flexible schedules, a free Walmart Plus membership that includes discounts, and free Paramount Plus, paid time off, and so much more. Fulfilling work starts right here. Text JOIN to 240240. That's JOIN 240240 to apply now.
April 5th, 2010, Atlanta area native Jason Hayworth homers off Carlos Zambrano in his first career major league at bat. A 3-run shot in a 6-run first inning as the Braves downed the Cubs 16-5 on opening day at Turner Field. That was this day in Braves history.
Hey, speaking of the Braves, winner, chicken dinner. Another second day in a row, a pop foul ball ends the game. So,
get out the brooms.
Of course, Austin Riley's catch today did not come close to rivaling the sliding grab last night from Matt Olson.
That was nice. That was very nice. Very dramatic on Olson's part. Yeah, Austin didn't quite come close to that here today, but it wrapped up a win just the same. And again, the Braves went into Busch Stadium and got a 3-game sweep with 2 rookies starting, one making his first career start.
Yeah, and Bryce Elder not pitching against the Marlins or Nationals, proving that last year maybe not so much a fluke, although he did deal with some control issues early. I don't know if you saw, he was a little erratic in the first couple of innings, even though he was getting out of the innings very easily. He did hit
he walked. I think he walked the first guy of the game on 4 pitches. He hit Goldschmidt. So yeah, maybe he was effectively wild though.
There you go. And sometimes that's what it takes. He threw 6 innings today and only hit 79 pitches. So for a guy who was pretty wild, only 79 pitches through 6 is pretty darn good.
He was wild, but he was not wacky.
That's right, because they were the Cardinals were whacking at it and missing with 6 strikeouts on the day. Only 2 hits, no earned runs. Some guy I've never heard of gave up the home run to Walker. Who the heck is Tonkin?
Michael Tonkin. Well, clearly you've not been watching. I think he threw Sunday as well. This is his first major league time since 2017. He's been in 2 overseas leagues, I think, Japan and Mexico, and Mexico isn't overseas, but 2 leagues out of the country, and he's been playing independence ball and made his way back to the majors. He's like 6'7".
6'7", 220 pounds, 33 years old. But
I'm gonna tell you something. I don't think by the time the smoke clears, I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of shame in giving up home runs to Jordan Walker.
No, not at all. It was the only hit he gave up. He did strike out 1. Dylan Lee pitched 2/3 and issued a walk, but still looking good. Colin McHugh, a little struggle, but it was more placement than hard hit balls. So all in all, a great day for the pitching staff of Atlanta. And again, just jumping on St. Louis early in the first couple innings, scored 3 in the first, 1 in the second, and then another in the fourth. Take that 5-0 lead, and it was kind of like last night. They, get this, Mo. They scored 1 run in game 1 in the first, 2 runs in game 2 in the first, and then 3 runs in game 3 of the first.
There you
So
go. And
you keep doing that, should be all right.
And Olsen 3 for 5 with a pair of runs, 3 ribs, had a home run and 2 doubles. He's heating up, or he's staying hot, I guess, because what did he hit? Hit 8 home runs in spring training.
He did. Travis d'Arnaud, a day after going 4 for 5 or something like that, goes 0 for 4 today. So his average dropped to under 400, but just barely. Because he was hitting like 480 coming into today. But yeah, this is a Braves team. I'm not used to this. I mean, typically the Braves kind of start out slow and we're all, doomsday mode by week 2. And right now I'm just like, get me to October.
Yeah. Meanwhile, at what point do we apologize to Orlando Arcia?
For just pretending like he didn't exist the entire offseason? Yeah. I think yesterday would probably have been a good one. Dude flashing leather, had another, hitting 304 right now in the year, 1 for 4 today. Orlando Arcia has been a massive, not necessarily surprise, but
I don't think anybody expected him to play the way he has.
Right. I mean, dude has really been trying to, keep that spot, because I don't know if you're noticed or not, but both guys down in AAA are also playing very well.
Well, when Wash tells them, if you don't like it, play better, and they say, well, okay. And that's what they've gone to Gwinnett and done. I think I saw where Grissom was 8 for 16 at one point.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's hitting right now. It's, and I'm curious, and obviously the first 3 people in the lineup, they were, hit 14 at bats and 7 hits. So hit 500 today did the first 3 people in the lineup: Acuna, Olsen, and Riley. I wonder how much of an effect long-term having Chipper back, helping out as a special assistant and hitting is going to be.
Can't hurt.
Because, obviously, Riley is one of the guys that suffered greatly after his short stint in his first year, come back the next year and really struggled until Chipper got a hold of him. And now he's hitting the ball as well as anybody in Major League Baseball. It just feels like this is a team that is built to win a championship.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you've seen the metrics out there, but there's one metric that has the Braves a 16% chance to win the World Series, which is a full double of the Houston Astros at 7.8.
Or the Astros the second?
2. They're number 2 on the list.
They're number 2.
At 16, the Astros at 7.8. They are a 2-1 favorite to win the World Series right now.
Jeez. That's
and here's the thing. They don't even have their best pitching rotation out there. Kyle Wright isn't back. Michael Soroka, who pitched very well yesterday for Gwinnett, and they were on the road, by the way.
Well, to frame that another way, that's with 3 rookies in the starting rotation
Currently, yeah.
When you talk about Schuster, Dodd, and Elder.
I mean, to me, it's scary. Because if Dylan Dodd is able to complete the season, which, and again, 162 is a long way. Plus, you got you've got the postseason. But if he and Schuster are able to be pretty decent when Kyle Wright gets back, and they can go to a 6-man rotation with 3 rookies, I think you'd feel a lot more confident in the longevity of those rookies if you can give them that extra day of rest every 6th day.
Yeah, absolutely.
That'd be huge.
If you don't have to tax those guys, then they get into August and September and they're still relatively fresh. that's certainly they'll definitely be on go at that point. You feel like,
And the fact that we can talk about the Braves having a potential 6-man rotation is not something that we're unfamiliar with. We actually talked about it this offseason, but we thought that a 6-man rotation might be the way they had to go
with all these arms.
with these arms. And it looks like that may be the case.
And I mean, you're going to get right back. Soroka's going to push. You know, I'm still not ready to give up on Ian Anderson.
I don't think you can.
I think you're going to get something out of him at some point. I mean, you've got some arms.
I mean, is Ian Anderson, if you can't trade him, I mean, not in this particular bullpen, but in the future, he could be a bullpen arm, right? If need
and that
be.
may be where he falls in from the standpoint that he's really got 2+ pitches, but he doesn't have a third one. So maybe that does play better out of the bullpen.
But his 2 pitches aren't nearly as unhittable as Strider's 2 pitches.
No. Well, whose are?
Whose are? Nobody's.
Yeah.
Spencer Strider's Cy Young Award winner.
Yeah,
Coming up.
If you were to trade Ian Anderson at this point, what would it be for?
Yeah, I mean, it would just
because this batting order is pretty untouchable.
There's nobody there's not a weak link outside of Marcell Ozuna, who's hitting 052 for the year.
But he doesn't have to play every day.
He doesn't.
I think he's playing every day at this point to either prove that he can or prove that he can't. And
how much longer do you give him if you are Brian Snicker and Alex Anthopoulos?
Well, I tell you, it's a lot easier to give him a lot more time when you're sitting here at 5-1.
Sure.
Than it would be otherwise.
Yeah, if you're 2-4, you don't feel you feel like you gotta, shake some stuff up.
You got to right, but I mean, sitting here at 5-1, you can ride it out a little bit longer. I'm not sure how much longer. Like you said, I don't think that's something. As long as he continues to perform the way he is, that if he's hitting 050 whatever you said by the end of the month, I don't think you see it go much past that.
I would be okay with that. I'd be okay with giving him that opportunity. Sorry, 059. He was 0 for 3 today.
Right. Again, as long as he's not hampering them, I think you can ride with it. I mean, they're 5-1.
Yep. I like that thought. That is one thing that, obviously you don't think about, but if we're going to be paying him anyway, I'd like to get something out of him.
Right.
I just feel like if he's going to take up a roster spot and take up a spot in the batting order, and he's not going to give you anything, just pay him and leave him be.
Well, I think it's the pay him that is the problem, and that's it's one of the few bad contracts that Alex Anthopoulos has signed for the Braves, and they're trying to give him every opportunity to make it not be a bad contract, I think.
Right. I mean, boy, after 2020, you thought Marcell Ozuna is going to be the future of left field.
A BFL, a Brave for life. Yeah. But
and he may be, because he may not get another contract after this one.
Well, I mean, in between on the field and obviously off the field, it doesn't look very good. So I want to mention, in light of our guest from yesterday and his allegiances, Tigers 6, Astros 3 yesterday. So sorry, Wade.
Tough day. Wade
Tough
will
day
be
for Mr. Neely. Yeah.
Wade will be on the show with me on Friday, so we're not taking Friday off, even though Mo's going to be heading down to the coast. Well, no, you won't be on the coast. You'll be in the middle of Florida. right? You're going to Orlando on Friday?
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly how that works, but supposedly the cruise is out of Orlando, which it's
I've always been curious about that. So
I'll have answers for you.
I'll be looking for your report when you come back, because I've always like, how do you cruise out of Orlando?
Out of Orlando,
it's the middle of the freaking state.
I just kind of pack my bags and do what I'm told. Man.
Listen,
you know how that goes.
If the ship's there, then I'm good, because that's all I care about.
That's it. That's it.
I don't care where we leave from. We can leave from St. Louis for all I care. If the ship is there, we'll go.
Get on the boat and point me to the bar. Yes, sir. So it's going to be fun wherever the ship leaves from.
Yeah, Wade will be with me on Friday and all next week. So Braves chatter may suffer a little next week, since
I'll try to send you a couple of texts or something.
We'll try to figure out some way of getting some baseball on the show, but maybe more Astros than we're used to here, and that's okay. It is what it is. So
fair and balanced, right?
There, exactly. You've got to keep a little bit of the rest of the audience engaged.
Yeah. So you mean we have an audience that isn't Braves fans?
I can't imagine it, but apparently there are. I was unaware.
Huh.
I know Tommy Bryan watches the show, so obviously there's at least one.
well, we appreciate him watching.
All of our friends who are fans of other teams are all teams that we hate. I mean, you've got the Dodgers. Astros don't necessarily hate, but obviously there was the World Series. Yeah, you're back.
I'm back.
Don't necessarily hate the Astros, but there was the World Series. And
there was the World Series. Well, I hate the Astros less than I would have,
right?
Otherwise.
And then even Terry McCormick from TitanInsider.com, Yankees fan. Like, come on. We got to get
better friends. Is that what you're saying?
Get better friends. Maybe Willie Daunic's a friend. We'll ask him on the other side of the break.
I can tell you Willie Daunic is from New York State, and he played in the Blue Jays organization. So
let's hope. Well, you know what? Even though 1992 exists, I don't hate the Blue Jays that much. So let's hope he's a Blue Jays fan.
There we go.
Stick around. We'll talk Preds on the other side of the break with Willie Daunic on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net.
With Lee Company technology, the best handymen are hands-off. Lee Company techs have been using visual findings and other smart technology tools for years to add transparency and virtually take customers along. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on a roof. With Lee Company, technology helps us help you, no matter what's happening in the world or at your house.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50 plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, zioneagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's zioneagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
A game without a crowd is just a scrimmage. A performance without an audience is just a rehearsal. Without your presence, high school sports and the performing arts aren't possible. Ensure that these essential extracurricular activities continue to enrich the lives of students in Tennessee. Purchase a ticket to your local high school's game or performance.
This message presented by the TSSAA.
You can't see the sights without the sounds. From the crack of the bat to the roar of the crowd and everything in between, Discover what Hit City has to offer. Spend your nights cheering on the Nashville Sounds at First Horizon Park with giveaways, fireworks shows, theme weekends, and more. Single game tickets are on sale now. Visit NashvilleSounds.com to claim your seat today.
Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Murray County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic service, and our Ortho Quick Walk-In Clinic lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net.
Welcome back in. Main Street Sports Today is presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. We're in the Lee Company studio on this wild and wacky Wednesday. The weirdest and wildest news from across the world coming your way right after this segment. So stick around. It will be worth it. I promise. There's plenty to react to. But first, we go back to the Real Property Solutions hotline. Once again, Real Property Solutions has a way to make your day. All you got to do is give them a call, 615-527-8750, 615-527-8750. They'll buy your house as is, and they can close in 7 days or 70. It's on your timeline. You tell them. That phone number, 615-527-8750. And on the Real Property Solutions hotline is Willie DAUNIC, talking a little PREDS, the PREDS on Bally play-by-play voice. And Willie, talk about keeping it interesting. The PREDS just won't go away.
Yeah, they've done a nice job. And just to set the record straight, I heard your conversation leading up. I did grow up in New York, so I am a Mets fan, fortunately. And, you know, in spite of Terry McCormick, he and I have had many discussions over the years, Mets, Yankees, and the rivalry, et cetera. But also, Mo, I did go to high school at Winter Park, Florida, right outside of Orlando. So I am very curious myself at how you're going to take a cruise ship from my hometown out to wherever you're going.
We're all
Willie,
confused.
I would think you would know more about it than I would, being from down that way.
Info here. Maybe I need to call some people down there.
Yeah, see what you can find out quickly. Maybe I've been suckered. I don't know, but
you're going to Disney World, Mo.
Yeah.
No, I'm not. Willie, so you went to Winter Park. Isn't that where Grissom's from?
Where who's that?
Von Grissom, isn't he from that area?
I'd have to look. I don't know. There have been a lot of guys from my high school that have made it. Of course, that Orlando's had a lot of really good players. Davey Johnson, Winter Park High School. Jack Billingham, going back to the Big Red Machine, Winter Park High School. So we've had a few. And basketball-wise, Austin Rivers, son of Doc, is from Winter Park High, too.
Okay.
Haggerty, Oviedo?
Who? Say what?
Does that ring a bell, Willie?
Oviedo?
Yeah, Oviedo.
Yeah, that's a different part of Orlando, but yes, a very growing area for sure. Yeah,
that's where Von Grissom went to school.
There you go. Okay.
All right. Cool.
I played against Oviedo a few times. Not Haggerty sounds like a newer high school. It's grown a lot since I left.
Cool. Willie, as Chris was saying, the Preds are kind of the 2023 cockroaches. You just can't kill them just yet. I mean, a 3-2 win in overtime last night against Vegas. The Preds of late have been that team that, they've just been good enough to get into the playoffs. Last year, you didn't feel like they were going to do any damage. They didn't. Should we feel any differently about this team, or can we get caught up in postseason hopes for this team right now?
It's definitely a different feeling than last year, I think. Even though last year, because the team really didn't sell at the deadline, they still made the playoffs, I think, unexpectedly. If you looked at the preseason predictions, you'd be hard-pressed to find anybody last year who thought they would make the playoffs for a 7th straight year, or I guess it was an 8th straight year last year. This year, at the trade deadline, when they sold off or traded the 4 players that they did, I think just about every person thought that they would be well out of the race within a couple of weeks. And I would not have been surprised in the least if that's what have happened. And then on top of that, if you'd have told me about the injuries that they were going to suffer at the beginning of March until where we are today, I would have said, well, it's maybe they'll slide down a few notches and move up a bit in the draft, perhaps. But the way they have played has been really, really inspiring. They've had 8 regular players out of the lineup the last few games. The number has grown from about 4 to 8 over the last couple of weeks, and yet they're still putting together a formula that's giving them a chance to win. They've got great goaltending. They play a tough defensive system. They know they're not going to get the most chances in the game, but they've got a real young group of forwards that's skilled enough and smart enough to make just enough plays to give them a chance even against top teams. Like last night, the Vegas Golden Knights are the leaders. They've got a chance to be the number 1 seed in the West. And Nashville beat them last night without their 4 highest paid players in the lineup.
Willie, as the Bally voice of the Preds, I may be addressing this question to someone who can't really answer it freely. Is John Hines, with Barry Trotz watching this situation as the GM in waiting and that kind of thing, with the way this team is playing right now, is John Hines coaching his way back from the brink?
Well, I can say from a personal side, I'm rooting for John Hines because I do think he has done a very good job. I think he's an excellent coach. And I think all of us who have been in the business for a long time, we know sometimes the coach can be a very good coach and still lose his job at some point. But I think what we've seen, we don't know the answer to your question right now, Mo, but I have seen Barry Trotz from the day that he was announced as the GM in waiting, basically. He's going to officially take over the job in July. But he has been in the office with the team every day. And the day of the press conference, and I think I joined you guys later that day, he said, from afar, when I've watched this team from afar, this looks like a well-coached team. But now I'm going to be around every day. Now I can evaluate from the inside the coaching staff and really everybody else, the players and how the organization is run. He's got to learn the ropes here. But what I've noticed since then is he's been on the road with the team. He's been in the team meetings. He's been in the coaches' meetings. And John Hines, to his credit, I think has done a great job of being open-minded about it. He's not intimidated. He's welcomed Barry Trotz and his input. He knows Barry Trotz has won a Stanley Cup. He's the winningest coach in franchise history. He's one of the top 5 winningest coaches in NHL history. So I think it's been a really good relationship. And at the end of the season, I think Barry Trotz will know everything that John Hines and his staff are about, and he'll make the right decision. If you ask me, I think John Hines deserves a ton of credit for the way this team continues to compete despite all of the injuries and all the adversity that's been thrown at them. For them to be in the playoff discussion at all on this date is pretty miraculous, if you ask me. And I think the coaching staff has a lot to do with that.
Can I ask, because I don't know, and that's why we bring you on the show, because I just don't know enough about it. This particular set of players, are they more John Hines styled players than what he kind of inherited from the Peter Laviolette era? Because Lavi and Hines are 2 different types of coaches. They coach 2 different types of ways.
Yeah, I think the mark of any coach is to be able to take the talent that you have and get them, create an environment where they can succeed, put people in positions to succeed. John Hines does have a background. When he was a young coach, he was part of the U.S. developmental team. So his backdrop, his beginning was coaching a lot of young players and developing young players. I think he's really thrived in that area. He was also an AHL coach, kind of like Barry Trotz was when he was a young coach. And so there's a lot of development mindset to that when you're coaching in the AHL, because you have prospects coming up that you're trying to get NHL ready. He was there in the Pittsburgh system. And if you take a look at what he's dealing with right now, there's a lot of high prospects in the system have had to be thrust in there to very high level roles. And I think John Hines has done a very good job of putting them in a situation where they can succeed. So it's a lot of very young players. It's a lot of guys who, quite honestly, are minor league depth players that have come up and are very hungry to try to show the organization and really the rest of the league that they belong in the NHL. It's like, the quintessential 4A guys. You guys were talking baseball. Like, for the Braves, there's probably 4, 5, 6 guys in Gwinnett at any given time that are probably good enough to play in the major leagues, but they're looking for an opportunity. And when they get that opportunity, they have to make the most of it. And so you're seeing some guys do that right now. And so I think it's been really fun to watch. And the energy around the team has changed, right? Because the expectations, the weight was lifted. I think when they made decision to sell 4 players, trade them off for future assets, the priority wasn't to make the playoffs. But at the same time, they wanted to stay competitive, because when you're evaluating these young players, you want to evaluate them in games that mean something, right? If you have a couple of, 60 and 93 teams in baseball playing the last 10 games of the season, if a guy has a 10-game winning streak, but there's really nothing on the line, how can you really tell if the guy belongs? Now, if he's in a pennant race and he has a 10-game winning streak at the end of the season, that's something different. I think that's what you're seeing right now. Some of the Predator guys, I think, are really making a good case, and it's legit hockey because there's something at stake.
Willie DAUNIC, the Valley voice of the Nashville Predators, joining us here on Main Street Sports Today on the Real Property Solutions Hotline. Willie, 5 games left at this point for the Preds, 3 of them at home, but it's kind of out of the frying pan and into the fire. They've got Carolina coming in here tomorrow night, who's already won 50 games and obviously one of the top teams in the East. I mean, how do the Predators sustain this vibe coming out of last night's overtime win against the Hurricanes?
Well, the first thing we're going to have to see is, will they possibly get Roman Josi back? They've been missing Roman Josi now for 2.5 weeks, and they really miss him. They've done remarkably well. They've been about a 500 team since he's gone out. He is, other than UC Saros, I think the most essential player to the Predators. And so, again, it's a tribute to them that they have held in there to go 500 without him. You mentioned it, Mo. They play the most difficult schedule of anybody in the league the last 5 games. They don't play a single team that's completely out of the race. But they've really thrived on that, like they did last night. Now, occasionally they can get caught. You wind it back to Monday night in Dallas. They were right in the game for half the game, and then Dallas turned it up a notch, and Nashville just didn't have any answers, and they got beat 5-1. So they don't have much of a margin for error. But we'll see if they get Roman Josi back, number one. The other thing to watch for tonight is you've got the Jets and the Flames, the 2 other teams that Nashville's competing with to get that last playoff spot. The numbers are against the Predators here. But if the Flames are able to beat the Jets tonight in regulation time, that helps Nashville hang in there, and it ups their chances a little bit, because Nashville has a road trip this weekend, Saturday at Winnipeg, Monday at Calgary, as luck would have it. So they've got head-to-head matchups with those teams. So if they can stay in the race, those games will mean something, and you got a chance to control your own destiny a little bit.
Yeah, and I guess that's all you ask for at this point in the year, Willie, is all you want is a chance, right?
That's right. And look, they're playing with house money. Let's be honest. When they made those trades at the beginning of March, I don't think anybody had any hopes realistically from the outside that they were going to make it. And I think even from the top, the ownership understood at that point that if they didn't make the playoffs, that was okay. It was more, let's build the roster for the next couple years. Let's give Barry Trotz a lot of draft capital. Let's clear some salary cap space so he can start making some moves to strengthen the roster long term, not in the short term. But those guys in the bunker down there with John Hines, the leadership group, Roman Josi, Ryan McDonough, the remaining veterans, they could have chose to check out. If you look at the St. Louis Blues, they were pretty much in the same spot as Nashville during the trade deadline. They sold off a couple guys, and for the first few weeks of March, completely checked out, bowed out of the race, played very uncompetitive hockey, and they sort of got left in the dust. And so to their credit, Nashville has not done that. And like I said, the biggest thing going forward is you get a true evaluation of these young prospects that have really, really played well. That's what's been exciting, I think, for the fans, is you look at guys like Luke Evangelista, Phil Tomasino, Cody Glass, Tommy Novak, who's been incredible. These guys are all in their low 20s, and they have a bright future. They're not expensive players right now, but they're really showing that they can hang in there even with the best teams.
It's remarkable is exactly what you said. And it truly is one of the more remarkable runs that we've seen from this Preds team. And in a long time, when you really think about the fact that they have almost all of their stars just hanging out on the injured list. And you've got guys that, Mo, we talked about it. I don't even know, Willie, how you do it. I mean, how you learn these guys' names so fast. And it's really impressive because we're watching the game. I guess it was a couple of weeks ago, and I was like, I don't even know who this guy is. I've never seen this guy before. So it's impressive what John Hines has done, but even more impressive what you have to do, because you have to know who has the puck at all times. And well done.
Well, it's not that hard for me. But, it's funny, some of the diehards that love studying the farm system, you got I'm sure you guys as Braves fans, you probably know who the top 2 or 3 prospects are in the system at any given time, right? You follow who's doing well coming up the chain. It's the same thing for the Preds, and that's what we're seeing right now. And, Milwaukee, the team, it's interesting. The Sounds and the Milwaukee Brewers are partners.
Mm-hmm.
The Admirals and the Predators are partners. So the connection between the two cities is interesting, going the opposite direction. But the Milwaukee Admirals have done a tremendous job. We've seen the Sounds in this position sometimes. They get raided, right? Because the major league team needs their best players. So the Admirals have done a great job developing these guys and having them ready to go to come up and play. What's really funny about the names, guys, is not so much for me, but the other team's announcers. And I can imagine this too for the other team's coaching staff. The names, they're looking at their scouting report going, who are these guys? It's almost like Major League, yeah. Who are these guys? And at the end of the game, you're like, oh, well, those guys were pretty good, but the announcers are asking us a lot. Hey, tell me about this guy or that guy. I've never heard of him before, but it's been a good story.
Well, Willie is always looking forward to this. This road trip is going to be fun because, again, you got a shot. And as well as the Preds have been playing, who knows? I mean, obviously, we don't want to go to Colorado and just lay another egg. But, boy, extending that playoff streak sure would be cool.
Yeah, it would be something. It's still a bit of a long shot. Root for the Flames tonight. That will be big against the Jets. And then tomorrow, take your shot against the team that's been a big nemesis for the Predators over the last few years, Carolina. That's an awfully good team. But if you can still be in the race when the team gets on the plane to go to Winnipeg on Friday, that's a victory, because then you still got some drama here. And so that just one day at a time, just stay alive, stay in the fight, as they say.
Stay alive, stay in the fight, and Willie, stay by your phone because we might need to have you back on next week.
Well, let's hope. If the Predators still have significant games going, I will come on, because that means they're still in the race.
Absolutely. Willie, as always, it's a pleasure. Thank you once again, and we will talk to you soon.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Willie DAUNIC on the Real Property Solutions Hotline. Again, that number 615-527-8750. They'll buy your house as is and close on your timeline. 7 days, 70 days. They don't care. They'll get it done. It's time now, Mo, for the weirdest and wildest news from across the world. And of course, Florida. We could not go to Florida, of course.
Florida, where we don't know where the port is in Orlando.
No idea.
Yeah.
Zero chance. But
I'm just going to drop you a pin when we get there. How's that?
What I need to know is, I need to see, where is this boat? I mean, I guess they have a river, or do you just travel down I-4 to Tampa? That's it. That's what they do. They put the boat on a big semi-truck trailer and take you down I-4 to Tampa and drop you off.
Dude, you ain't seen these boats. I'm not sure there's a trailer. Yeah. So But yeah, I'll keep you posted. Trust me.
Put some wheels on that thing. We go to Brevard County, Brevard. Yeah, it's Brevard.
Yeah.
So y'all know that I'm a karaoke junkie. Mo likes to go watch karaoke sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
You might catch him at a karaoke bar in his hometown on occasion. But what you hopefully will not see is a man being so angered that he was unable to sing another karaoke song that he pulled out a machete. That's right. At Kennedy's Lamp Post Tavern in Cape Canaveral, Travis Jordan, 39 years old, faces breach of peace due to disorderly conduct after he was found unsteady on his feet with bloodshot, glassy eyes and smelling strongly of alcohol. He pulled out a machete, which was concealed on his body after someone denied his request to sing another karaoke song. The woman, afraid for her safety and the safety of others, was able to coax the suspect into peacefully handing over the machete. And afterwards, he admitted to wielding the weapon and told deputies he was threatened days prior and had to stay alert, quote, to protect himself. So there you go.
Maybe she should have just let him sing.
It was probably the end of the night. It says shortly before too. That was probably the last song of the night. And hey, look, we got to go. Normally you just tip to skip, but I guess if someone came up to me and pulled out a machete, I'd probably just let them go.
Just let them sing.
Listen, the man just wanted to sing. It was all that I could do.
Keep from crying.
That's it. That's all he wanted to do. Oh man. Let's make our way to Pennsylvania, where a man was arrested in York County after two chases with law enforcement in York and Adams counties, one of which police say involved a stolen school bus with dead deer inside. That's correct. Tony Saunders was stopped by state police, and troopers say that he claimed he was coming home from work, where apparently he is a dead deer school bus driver.
Sir, what exactly is it you do for a living, sir?
This is insane.
He was coming home from work in a school bus with
dead deer in it.
Okay.
They also saw apparently the troopers learned of a theft at Rutter's convenience store in York County, and items from Rutter's were in the vehicle, and he claimed to have gotten them at a junkyard. When troopers tried to open the car door, Saunders drove off. They followed the car on the Hanover Street and said it drove through a chain link fence. That's where that's when he stole the school bus, by the way.
Goodness gracious.
So, yep. Good luck, buddy. Good try. Good try.
How many charges is he facing?
A bunch. I don't even know. It was probably around maybe 34. And finally, Connecticut police officers didn't have to go far to arrest a suspected intoxicated driver in Plainfield, Connecticut, as a 30-year-old man managed to crash his car into the Plainfield Police Department's entrance sign on Monday. He took Otis's to another level. He didn't
just walk into the jail.
He drove into. He was traveling at a high rate of speed and lost control of his Honda Accord, which careened off the road and slammed to the sign, police said. A photo of the crash scene showed the damaged silver sedan resting amid a pile of concrete blocks from the base of the sign and the busted sign itself. Oh, man. That's one way to do it. They did not perform a field sobriety test to standard, or he didn't perform the sobriety test to standard. Well, of course not. He just crashed into
really necessary. Yeah.
He just crashed into a sign. He's probably not fit to walk. That's less to a FST.
Oh, good Lord.
Oh, man. But there you go. That is Wild and Wacky Wednesday, the weirdest and wildest news from across the world. Mo, question real quick from Old Geezer. The bar, did you get the drink package? Is it included?
Oh, yes.
All right. That was the question. That's what we needed to know.
Yes, only rookies cruise without the drink package.
Well, I won't be cruising without it if I go. I promise you that.
Yeah.
That's going to do it for Main Street Sports today. We're back tomorrow at 2 p.m. right here on Main Street Media TV. Thanks for hanging out with us. For Justin in the control room and Mo, I'm Chris. Have a good one.